Coast News Weather Team, sponsored by AC Designs.
So the wet pattern continues, but don't feel like we're being picked on, folks. It's actually wetter on the Gulf Coast. Some areas have had 10 to 20 inches of rain over the last week. Same thing with the Panhandle and all the way down past Tampa, and really the southeast for that matter, into Georgia and the Carolinas. And this is all due, in many ways really, due to the same pattern that created the record heat and drought and thus the wildfires over Canada. I could go on, but maybe you're headed out the door and you're just trying to figure out what's going to happen because it looks kind of threatening out there. Satellite and radar. So a lot of clouds over our area, but if you look closely, especially with the lightning, that's south of us more toward I-4, and then north of us more toward Macon, and then up toward Augusta. So we're going closer. A couple areas of drips, at least for the next couple of hours. That's it. Now the Gulf of Mexico will probably become productive. In fact, we're beginning to see thunderstorms redevelop out here. Here's Cedar Key. This will probably expand. So another round of thunderstorms and at the very least rain and rumbles late tonight and during the early morning hours. Another way to verify this is to look at the winds and where the highest winds will be tomorrow morning. And once again, you're going to see it out over the very warm waters of the northeast Gulf of Mexico. Nothing over land. Has to do with the inversion develops, cooler temperatures over land, warmer over the water because it doesn't cool overnight. And that's where the thunderstorms and downpours will form. That'll weaken, but they'll race across the peninsula, hitting us during the morning and heading offshore. But notice what happens as we head towards Saturday. A lot of color up here, but that's heading away from us. The wind's not nearly as strong over the Gulf of Mexico on Saturday. So again, doesn't mean on Saturday we're going to be rain-free, but that does seem to verify the idea that we're going to have much less in the way of thunderstorms on Saturday and even less on Sunday. Here's another way to look at it. This is just looking at the moisture. This color, lots of moisture. This is drier air. And notice we get on the fringes and then drier air gets into the first coast. Bit of an uptick again later Monday and Tuesday. But what about all this tropical energy? Well, let's just take a look at what's going to, we feel very confident about Bret falling apart over the Caribbean. But what about Tropical Depression 4, which would become Cindy beyond that 5-day cone I showed you? Well, it looks like, and that is even if the cyclone survives the shear, that it doesn't get any closer than about 600 miles to the southeast U.S. and begins to recurve to the north and the northeast. That would be about day 7 or 8. Not a done deal, but again, the difference between what could be Cindy and then Bret, but still recurving. So don't worry about it, but that's why we still want to watch that particular system. Again, for the summer campers tomorrow around all of the coastal areas of northeastern Florida and southeastern Georgia. Again, the highest risk of lightning and wet weather will actually again be during the morning, coming at us from the southwest, coming at us from the Gulf of Mexico. Maybe some sun though, and still temperatures into the middle 80s. Lots of beach early in the morning and late in the morning for those of you that just like to go and take a stroll. Making those weekend plans, technically, astronomically speaking. It's the first weekend of summer and a very summer-like looking and feeling weekend. Yes, there'll be a few thunderstorms around, but much less, only impacting 40% of us on Saturday, only 30% of us on Sunday. Most of those stronger storms later in the day. And then notice a slight uptick in thunderstorms again, especially on Tuesday. But overall, once we make it to Sunday, check out those temperatures, lower and middle 90s through at least the upcoming Thursday.